Key industry and service standards. Beyond government regulations, certain industry standards effectively become mandatory for participation or are essential for demonstrating security maturity. Let's take a look at them in the following. 1. PCI DSS Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard, which applies to any organization that stores, processes, or transmits cardholder data CHD, credit cards, debit cards. This includes banks, payment processors, e-commerce merchants, retailers, fintech companies, etc., vital for Nigeria's growing digital payments ecosystem. What it requires, PCI DSS requires adherence to 12 high-level requirements broken down into many detailed controls covering 1. Install and maintain a firewall configuration. 2. Do not use vendor-supplied defaults for passwords and security parameters. 3. Protect stored cardholder data, e.g. encryption masking. 4. Encrypt transmission of cardholder data across open, public networks. 5. Protect systems against malware and regularly update antivirus. 6. Develop and maintain secure systems and applications (ETL) vulnerability management. 7. Restrict access to cardholder data by business need to know. 8. Identify and authenticate access to system components. 9. Restrict physical access to cardholder data. 10. Track and monitor all access to network resources and cardholder data. 11. Regularly test security systems and processes. Vulnerability scans, pen tests. 12. Maintain a policy that addresses information security for all personnel. Enforcement. The PCI DSS is enforced by the payment card brands, Visa, MasterCard, etc., through contracts and potential fines or revocation of card processing privileges for non-compliance. Compliance often requires annual assessments or self-assessments. 2. SOC 2 System and Organization Controls 2, who it applies to, is primarily service organizations that store or process customer data in the cloud, SaaS providers, cloud hosting companies, data centers, managed service providers, increasingly relevant for Nigerian tech companies serving local or international clients. What it reports on: an audit report attestation on the design and operating effectiveness of controls relevant to one or more. Trust services criteria, TSCs, security required, protecting information and systems against unauthorized access, unauthorized disclosure and damage, availability, ensuring systems are available for operation and use as committed or agreed, processing integrity, ensuring system processing is complete, valid, accurate, timely, and authorized, confidentiality, protecting information designated as confidential as committed or agreed, privacy, protecting the collection, use, retention, disclosure, and disposal of personal information, aligns closely with GDPR and NDPA principles. Value, it provides assurance to clients that the service provider has adequate controls in place to protect their data according to the chosen TSCs. Often a requirement for winning business, especially from larger enterprises. ISO 27001, revisited as a standard while discussed as a framework in Module 2, achieving ISO 27001 certification serves as independent validation of a robust ISMs. It's often used by organizations to demonstrate they meet the security requirements inherent in laws like NDPA or GDPR, or to provide assurance to business partners globally. Many regulators, including potentially the CBN, look favorably upon ISO 27001 certification, industry-specific compliance focus in Nigeria. While NDPA applies broadly, certain sectors face a concentration of compliance pressures. Financial services, banks, fintech, insurance, these institutions face intense scrutiny from the CBN, mandating specific frameworks, controls, reporting, and must comply with PCI DSS if handling payment cards, and must fully comply with NDPA for customer personal data. This is arguably the most complex compliance environment in Nigeria. GRC integration is essential here. Telecommunications, regulated by the NCC, facing specific rules around subscriber data protection, network security, and critical infrastructure protection, in addition to the overarching NDPA. Interconnection security and lawful intercept requirements also add complexity. E-commerce and retail, heavily reliant on PCI DSS for online payments, must also comply rigorously with NDPA regarding customer data collection, marketing consent, and transaction records. Building customer trust through demonstrated compliance is key. Healthcare, While Nigeria doesn't have a direct HIPAA equivalent yet, the NDPA provides the primary data protection framework for sensitive patient health information. Organizations handling health data face high expectations for confidentiality and security. If dealing with international partners or US data, HIPAA might also apply. Technology and service providers, cloud, SaaS, MSPs, increasingly need SOC2 reports to provide assurance to clients, must also comply with NDPA regarding any personal data they process on behalf of clients. ISO 27001 certification is also common for demonstrating security maturity. Understanding the specific combination of regulations and standards applicable to your industry is a critical part of effective compliance management. Understanding the consequences of non-compliance, failing to meet compliance obligations, is not just a theoretical risk. The consequences can be severe and multifaceted. 1. Significant financial penalties. Regulators are increasingly imposing large fines. NDPA fines can reach up to 2% of annual gross revenue, AGR, for severe violations by controllers, processors of major importance, or 10 million naira, whichever is greater, and 1% AGR, 2 million naira for others. GDPR fines up to 20 million euros or 4% of global annual turnover, whichever is higher. CBN can impose various monetary penalties on financial institutions. PCI DSA's fines levied by card brands to acquiring banks, often passed down to the non-compliant merchant. 2. Reputational damage, public disclosure of data breaches or significant compliance failures, especially under NDPA GDPR breach notification. Rules can severely damage an organization's reputation and erode customer trust, which is hard to rebuild. This can lead to customer churn and loss of market share. 3. Legal action. Organizations can face lawsuits from individuals whose data was compromised or rights were violated. Class action lawsuits following large breaches can be extremely costly. Business partners might also sue for breach of contractual security clauses. 4. Operational disruption. Regulators may have the power to order suspension of data processing activities. Loss of certifications like PCI compliance can prevent core business functions like processing payments. Incident response and remediation efforts consume significant internal resources. 5. Loss of business opportunities. Inability to demonstrate compliance can result in losing contracts, failing partner due diligence checks, or being excluded from lucrative markets or government tenders. 6. Increased scrutiny. A significant compliance failure often leads to more intense and frequent scrutiny from regulators and auditors in the future. The potential costs of non-compliance usually far outweigh the costs of implementing a robust GRC program to manage compliance effectively. Data privacy regulations and cybersecurity. It's crucial to understand that data privacy regulations like NDPA and GDPR are not separate from cybersecurity. They are intrinsically linked. You cannot achieve compliance with modern data protection laws without implementing strong cybersecurity controls. Here's why. 1. Security principle. Most data privacy laws explicitly include a core principle requiring personal data to be processed securely, ensuring its confidentiality, integrity, and availability, the CIA triad. This legally mandates cybersecurity measures. 2. Technical and organizational measures, TOMS. Regulations like NDPA Section 39 and GDPR Article 32 specifically require controllers and processors to implement appropriate technical and organizational measures. These TOMS are cybersecurity controls, encryption, access controls, vulnerability management, network security, backup, security testing, staff training, incident response plans, etc. 3. Data breach notification. The requirement to detect and report data breaches necessitates having cybersecurity monitoring, detection, and incident response capabilities in place. You can't report a breach you don't know about. 4. Data protection by design default. Building privacy considerations into systems from the outset requires integrating security requirements early in the development lifecycle. 5. Protecting rights. Fulfilling data. Subject rights like access or erasure often relies on secure systems that can accurately locate, modify, or delete specific data records without compromising others. Therefore, managing compliance with data privacy regulations is a core function within cybersecurity GRC. Your cybersecurity controls are the primary means by which you protect personal data and meet your legal obligations under laws like the NDPA. They are two sides of the same coin. Imposing large fines, NDPA, fines can reach up to 2% of annual gross revenue, AGR, for severe violations, by controllers' processors. Of major importance, or 10 million naira, whichever is greater, and 1% AGR, 2 million naira for others. In this module, you navigated the complex landscape of cybersecurity compliance. You learned that compliance involves adhering to a multi-layered set of rules, including international laws like GDPR, crucial national legislation like Nigeria's NDPA. 2023, powerful sector-specific regulations from bodies like the CBN, and vital industry standards such as PCI DSS and SOC 2. We explored the scope and key cybersecurity relevant requirements of these major obligations, emphasizing the critical importance of the NDPA 2023 and CBN directives for organizations operating in Nigeria. You gained insight into industry-specific compliance pressures, particularly within finance and telecoms. Crucially, you understood the significant negative consequences of non-compliance, spanning financial penalties, reputational damage, legal action, and operational disruption. We also explicitly highlighted the inseparable link between data privacy regulations and cybersecurity, recognizing that protecting personal data under laws like NDPA fundamentally relies on implementing robust technical and organizational security measures. Understanding this compliance landscape is essential for ensuring your organization operates legally, ethically, and securely. In Module 6, we will focus on how to translate these GRC objectives, governance, risk management, compliance into tangible action by developing effective cybersecurity policies and standards.